Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we're going to be talking about my top three overrated Peter Capaldi stories. Stories that not necessarily the fandom as a whole likes, but that some people do seem to like, that I'm like, what? Now, let me rephrase that slightly, because one of these stories is actually really, really good. I just think it's a little overrated, and the other two I think are bad. In third place is The Doctor Falls. This is a really good story. I do think the fandom tends to agree that it doesn't quite live up to everything World Enough and Time sets up. Between the two episodes, World Enough and Time is noticeably better. The Doctor Falls is still good. I just have a couple issues with it. One is that the Mondasian Cybermen are not in it enough. I don't like that it jumps to the modern series Cyberman too fast. And I get why that happens in real life. I get it's for budget reasons, hey, we only got enough money to make a few of these Mondasian Cybermen. How do we show an army? We still got a bunch of the other ones from the modern series in storage. Hey, Fred, go get those. Fred, get the rest of those out. We're going to make those work. And then even in universe, it makes sense because the back half of the ship is going at such a, time-wise, such a slower rate than this part of the ship. So while the Doctor is here trying to figure all this out, the Cybermen are here advancing as time passes so much slower, quicker, however you look at it, differently there. And so they're evolving, and that could be them just evolving up to the modern series point. I get that. That makes sense in universe. But for me, I have two main complaints. One is I don't get to see any other classic Cybermen designs. Like, where's the Earthshock Cybermen, the Invasion Cybermen, the Tomb of the Cybermen, the Revenge of the Cybermen, the Wheel in Space Cybermen. None of these are there. You don't see any of the evolution from Mondasian to modern series Cybermen. And I guess it's supposed to have happened off screen, but as someone who is a Doctor Who fan, and especially a classic Who fan, it's disappointing that we don't get to see any of these. And I get they probably didn't have the budget to do all these costumes, but I still would have liked to have seen a couple Earthshock Cybermen. I still would have liked to have seen a couple the Invasion Cybermen. Those designs are very iconic, and so I would have liked to have seen some of them thrown into the mix instead of just going from, this big tease at the end of part one to some Mondasian Cybermen to only seeing them a little bit in part two and it mostly being more modern Cybermen running around. It's just disappointing. Another thing is the fact that the trailer for the season already leaked the Mondasian Cybermen coming, and they also released, basically the trailer also showed that John was coming back. Both of these are huge moments in the season and huge moments in Doctor Who, to have John coming back as his incarnation of the Master, and to have the Mondasian Cybermen coming back, since the first time we've seen them since 10th Planet. And the trailer shows all that, so it doesn't have that emotional impact that if you had just, seen it in the episode and not known it was coming. A good example would be Star Wars The Mandalorian. Right now, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the final episode of Season 2, stop watching. Right now. You've been warned. Okay. At the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, right when they look like they're about to get decimated by those dark troopers, the droid dark troopers, a Jedi shows up and just waxes them and saves them. And it's freaking Luke Skywalker. Oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker. I cannot tell you how much of an emotional impact that was for me, because that's one of my childhood heroes. I love Luke Skywalker. And I hated how he was treated in The Last Jedi. And so to see him doing what I wanted, that's the Luke I wanted in The Last Jedi. Luke coming in to save the day, being the badass Jedi. That truly awesome moment we never really got to see in the movies, outside of some stuff in Return of the Jedi. It's so awesome, and I absolutely love it. And one of the reasons it had the emotional impact it did for me and countless other people on YouTube is because we didn't know it was coming. They kept that quiet. They managed to keep that from leaking. They didn't reveal it in any trailers. They kept it completely quiet. So when that episode actually aired, it was so impactful. I managed to see it the day it came out. I was not spoiled, and it was amazing. I have watched other people on YouTube who were doing, YouTube reviews of the episodes, reactions, and you see them seeing this for the first time. You have grown adults, grown men crying or jumping up and down. They're so happy and excited. it's a beautiful thing to watch. I loved watching all the reaction videos because it's just nice to see someone that gets as much joy out of that as I did. And again, it's so impactful because you didn't know it was coming. Like, imagine if especially maybe for some of the people who saw Doctor Who later, who didn't see these episodes when they originally aired. They hadn't seen the trailer, it wasn't leaked to them. Imagine, when Bill turns out to be the first Mondasian Cyberman there. That's a hell of a shocking moment if you don't know it's coming. Or that reveal that the one guy is actually John Sims. Give us a kiss. That's such a shocking moment. And I envy the people who didn't know it was coming. Because it doesn't have that emotional weight behind it when you know it's coming. And you can see it coming. And you had foreknowledge of it. So yeah, those are two main reasons it just doesn't quite live up to the first part. And I even think to what some people think of it. People seem to think that, the Doctor Falls should have been his finale, when I think Twice Upon a Time is just as good as the Doctor Falls, honestly. Neither one of them are perfect. They each have flaws. I like Twice Upon a Time. The next one on the list is Oxygen. I don't care for Oxygen. The opening teaser before the credits is really good, but it kills off that one woman that in that short amount of time I really liked, and immediately I just emotionally disconnected with it. It's really well shot though. I love seeing the boots land beside her boots, seeing her kind of panicking. Then it cuts to the guy trying to work the thing. You just see the helmet float past him. I'm like, ooh. And then when he looks up, her and the other two are walking towards him. Great opening. I don't care for the, political messaging. It all comes down to the suits. I won't say it's heavy-handed, but I still don't like it. It's really hard for me to say a lot about this one because I never go back to it. The thing where Bill kind of dies but doesn't die somehow. I forget something wrong with her suit. I forget exactly what it is. The whole bit about the Doctor going blind, I don't connect with this story. I have never had the desire to go back and rewatch this story. That's why I don't have a lot to say about it. I just don't remember it that clearly. I just remember I didn't like it. Anytime people are like, I like Oxygen, it's so good, I'm like, okay, you do you. I don't like it. I find it uninteresting. And number one on the list is Listen. This is another one of those where Moffat has a good thing going and then he totally craps the ending and ruins the whole episode. The Magician's Apprentice and Which is Familiar does a lot of this. I mean, there's a lot of stupid going throughout that whole story on that part, but the ending really ruined that two-parter. But here, I liked it. The idea that the Doctor is tracking some kind of entity that works in the way he theorizes that it does. Fascinating concept. Loved it. Was following the whole episode of rapt attention until the end when it turns into the Clara show again. And I hate Clara. This is one of the episodes that just adamantly made me hate Clara. She's so annoying, so arrogant, so telling the Doctor what to do. Like, bitch, he's the Doctor. Shut up. Do as you're told. What? Get out of my TARDIS. Do as you're told. I hated her. And then you find out that she knew the Doctor when he was a kid. She's the one who's responsible for him being the Doctor. They already kind of made her central to his character in Name of the Doctor, which I was okay with. I didn't really mind that. I thought it was kind of neat. But here it's like, not only since he stole the TARDIS originally, but since he was a boy, she's there. I'm just like, infuriating. Here's another thing. If it turns out to have all been in his head and maybe he was just afraid of the dark and he was just scared of the boy, then what about all the other stuff that happened in the episode? Like when he's talking to the one kid and then there's something poking up under the blanket and they're like, whatever you do, don't turn around, don't look. What was under the blanket? I mean, was it just another kid? I don't think it says. Another thing, when they're meeting future Danny Pink, whatever his name is, Danny's great grandkid, and he keeps hearing the noise outside. What was it? Was it just his imagination? Was the future Danny just paranoid and gone crazy from isolation? Was there something out there? Was there nothing out there? Will we ever know? It's one of those things that as it was happening, it was kind of neat, but when you actually have seen the whole episode and realize it's nothing, it's in the Doctor's head, a lot of that other stuff doesn't make sense. It doesn't connect. What was that? Maybe it's just me. This is another one I don't go back and rewatch because it's stupid. And I get there are some people out there that apparently like this episode. I don't know why. Trust me, if I run up to somebody and they're like, I really like that episode, listen, my response is going to be, you need to watch more Doctor Who. Because I have a feeling you haven't watched much Doctor Who. Let me introduce you to this guy named Tom Baker and his friends John Pertwee and Peter Davison and Patrick Troughton. There is some better Doctor Who out there that you need to watch. I don't care for this episode. I think it's crap. I think it once again makes it the Clara show. And one of the reasons I have so many issues with season 8 and 9 is Clara. I liked Matt with Clara. I think they had good chemistry. I don't like Capaldi with Clara, and it's nothing on Jenna. I don't like the way she was written. I don't like how bossy and irritating she is. She strikes me as a completely different character. Series 7 Clara and Series 8 Clara seem like two different people, and I just don't like it. So this has been my list. I'm curious to know what you think. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? What do you think of these 3 stories? And what do you think of my reasoning for the way I feel, the way I do about these stories? Comment down below. I always enjoy interacting with you guys and finding out what you think about the video. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. I've started a Patreon channel. If you would like to contribute to that, you will find a link to that down below. Please feel free to click that. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.